Hello everyone. After a long gap, after the Z transform concepts were over, let us today start with the one more new concept. Probably the style, if you just see the slide, it is about Fourier. Okay, the concept of Fourier. This concept is probably not unknown to you. You have already studied this in mathematics, probably in analysis kind, in problem solving. You have done this analysis, Fourier analysis. Okay, Fourier series, Fourier transforms. So these terms are not new to you, but however, with respect to the signals and system subject, how we can use this, let us see today. uh, Before going further about the Fourier concepts, I'll just remind you, when we started with the fifth module, that is Z transform. If you remember, in the first slide I had given you a chart, okay, wherein where this Z transform falls, that was being shown to you. If you just remember that chart, whenever you have if anyone remembers that chart, somewhere in continuous and discrete, two different types of frequency domain, frequency analysis. So this Z transform and what Fourier transform, they were falling under one category, and Laplace and Fourier series, they were in one more category. And I had told you, if you learn one specific transform, it is easy for you to understand the remaining transforms. So that's why we first took the Z transform rather than the Fourier. Now from today we are going to deal with the Fourier concepts. I have taken this concept at the last because as in the now you are going to the you are promoted to the fifth semester. So in the fifth semester you have this second subject, that is digital signal processing, which is the continuation of signals and system. Some topics, some basics you will take it from signals and system, and you will continue with the digital signal processing, in short DSP. There the very first introductory concepts start with Fourier. So I have kept this as the last so that it will become continuation to you there. So let us start with this Fourier concepts. If you just look at this slide, again here also I have made a chart. Basically the periodicity, it matters here. When we are dealing with the Fourier representation of a signal, periodicity matters. So whenever we deal with the periodic signals, just try to recall the module 1 concepts of signals and system, where we have dealt with some classification of signals, energy, power, periodic, non-periodic, all those things. Just try to remember what is periodic and non-periodic, and even power and energy signals. So whenever we deal with the periodic signals, whenever this comes, the very first thing is the Fourier series will be applied. For periodic signals, Fourier series. For non-periodic, Fourier transforms. That's the difference. Okay, series, it's a continuous. Transforms, okay, that is a frequency domain analysis. And again, in Fourier series we have, it may be continuous and discrete. In Fourier transforms also, continuous and discrete. This part in Z transform you have studied a bit, okay, that was also a discrete part. And Z transform, what you can easily relate it to Fourier transform. That's what I had told you during that when I was taking Z transforms. So this is important. As you have already studied Z transform, this will be probably easy to you to understand. So this is the major thing. Periodic signals, when periodic signal comes, Fourier series. Non-periodic signals, Fourier transforms. And in a series, both continuous and discrete, continuous and discrete transforms. So out of all this, for your signals and system syllabus, here I have encircled these two. These two are important. This falls in module 3. If you just remember, module 1 was the basic, module 2 included convolution, Module 3 had some half part we have dealt, step response, impulse response, everything. Half part was left out. That half part covers this CTFS, continuous time Fourier series. This is not there for you. Only this is there for you in module 3. And module 4 is completely dedicated to DTFT. If you read this, if you learn this properly, DSP will be easy to you. Okay, so module 4 deals with completely DTFT, or in short, many times it is called DFT. Discrete time Fourier transform is discrete Fourier transform, DFT in short. So now we will be starting this particular concept, module 4 concepts, that is DTFT. So let us take a very important thing. Just now I have told you, whenever non-periodic signal comes, we use DTFT. Okay, that's what I have written here. Discrete time, non-periodic signal DTFT. It is mainly used for the analysis of non-periodic discrete time signals. If you remember, when we were dealing with the Z transform, we started with the formula. Okay, what was the formula? We know that x of z is given by summation x of n z raised to minus n. Similar to this, here also the DTFT, there it was x of z, that is z transform. Here we want Fourier transform, DTFT. Fourier transform, it is denoted as either x of omega or x of k. It is given by summation, just like your z transform summation. You have the signal x of n. Instead of z raised to minus n, you have studied z raised to minus n in z transform. Here it will be e to the power of minus j omega n. If you are using omega, use this omega. If you are using k, use k. Okay, so this is the formula for finding the discrete time Fourier transform of signal x of n. So if you have a signal x of n, discrete time signal x of n, its DTFT is given by either x of k or x of omega, and this is the formula. I'll just zoom it so that it is clear to you. X of omega or x of k is given by this. This is important. It is similar to x of z is equal to summation x of n e to the power of minus j omega. Sorry, e to the power, no, e term will not come. Z raised to minus n. This is replaced with here e raised to minus j omega. That's it. So this is important. Okay. Here, this one thing we have seen, formula. Secondly, this omega, which is your frequency term. Okay. In Z transform, Z was the frequency term. In Fourier transforms, omega is your frequency term. And that frequency range is from minus pi to plus pi, or in generally, if you take the positive side, 360 degrees complete, 0 to 2 pi, 360. Okay, this is the range, and remember this range is continuous. We are talking about the frequency side, which is continuous. But however, we are all doing this. We are doing this transformation on discrete signals. Okay. However, the frequency domain, whatever we get, will be continuous. That's what I have written here. X of omega, it is also called as the spectrum. You have learned about spectrum in probably physics. Okay, in electromagnetics it comes. What is a spectrum? It's a range. Okay, range of frequencies, range of band. That is called the spectrum. So here we are using the term spectrum for x of z omega, because even though x of n is a discrete signal, but your x of omega, that is a spectrum, will be continuous, because your range for omega is continuous. continuous 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so this is about your equation to find the Fourier transform, discrete time Fourier transform. Then coming to the inverse, if you just remember, in the Z transform also we started with x of z, and in the second part we started with how to find the inverse, that is how to get the original signal back, original sequence back, x of n. So here also, as this indicates your Fourier transform, this is your original sequence, discrete time sequence, we need to get this back. So that is inverse DTFT, and it has a formula. If you just look here, inverse DTFT, the formula is 1 by 2 pi. Why it is 2 pi? Because over range spectrum, when you convert your when you find the Fourier transform of x of n, your complete whatever signal is there, it will be shrinked to this range only. Okay, or between 0 to 2 pi only, your complete range will fall under this with continuous in nature. Hence this is over 1 by 2 pi. And if you just see, I have not used summation. Just now I have told you, even though we are applying the transform on a discrete signal, but the transform what we get, it has omega. Omega is continuous 0 to 2 pi, that is minus pi to plus pi in general. So that is continuous. Hence I have not used summation. Instead I have used integration. So integration of 0 to 2 pi or minus pi to plus pi. And what is the value? X of omega e to the power of j. If you just observe this with your formula of Fourier transform, this has a negative sign here. Here it has a positive sign, inverse. Okay, and the integration is with respect to omega frequency z dz. Okay, so like d omega. So in this slide you can just see you have two formulae. One is for finding the Fourier transform, discrete time Fourier transform, that is x of omega, capital X of omega, and finding the original signal, discrete time signal x of n. So these two formulas are very important to proceed further. And in general, the relationship between these two signals, we write it like this. And if you remember, in a Z transforms, we used to write it like this: Z x of z. So here how we are writing? X of n dtft or dft in short, x of omega. So like this we represent the relationship between the time domain signal and the frequency domain signal. Okay, this is the basics about your DTFT. Two formulas. First is finding the Fourier transform formula. Second one, finding the inverse DTFT. Now coming to the next. This is very important. In order for the the DTFT to exist, we have certain condition. If you remember, when we started with the Z transform, we started with the formula, and by some equations we even have this topic also, existence of Z transform. There is certain condition for the Z transform to exist. Okay, I think can anybody tell me please, if you remember, what is the condition for Z transform to exist? When you say that your Z transform x of z is it is existing, it is there, it is valid, what is the condition? Can anybody who is there here, let's see how many of you remember this. What is the condition for the Z transform exist? You can unmute and even speak, no issues, no need to type it in the chat box if you're listening. Okay, Misbah has answered Z less than 1. Okay, fine. by doing this z less than equal to 1, you are putting some condition. Okay, what will happen if you make z is equal to 1? What will happen to the denominator part? If you remember, x of z is equal to 1 divided by some denominator. You are putting certain condition, right? So less than 1 or less than greater than some conditions you are putting. Yes, Tayyaba has answered. It is correct. Even actually, Misbah is also correct, but she has answered indirectly. She has told z less than 1. What will happen if z is equal to 1? Z is equal to 1 means denominator will become 0. 1 by 0 is infinity, which we don't want. If it becomes infinity, x of z will not exist. So the condition is your x of z should be finite. It should be absolutely summable. It should converge. So just like the z transform case, even here in Fourier transform case also, there are certain conditions for the Fourier transform to exist. Very first condition, it is the same. It is similar to z transform. You can just observe it. We have, this is the formula wherein this summation should converge. That is, it should be absolutely summable. Summation of, and I have used modulus, absolute value. I have not considered this angle. Okay, that exponential term, forget. Only the absolute value, if you take, that value should converge. It should have some finite value. Then we say that the Fourier transform is existing. This is similar to your Z transform. Now, there is one more condition here for the Fourier transform to exist. That is, if you remember in the module 1, we have seen the energy and power signals. Okay, can anybody tell me what is an, how will you say that if a question is given to you, say x of n is equal to so and so, how will you decide whether it is an energy signal or a power signal? Again, you can unmute and tell me or put it in the chat box, no problem. How will you tell that a particular question, a sequence given is either having energy or power? How will you tell? You can unmute and answer, no issues. Anybody? Just try to recall. Yes, Tayyaba, you're correct. Periodicity, you know, that matters. When you just look at the signal, if it is a periodic signal, then you tell that it is a power signal. If it is not a periodic signal, you tell that it is an energy signal. Yes, periodic means power, non-periodic means energy. So it is straightforward. So here also, if you just look at the slide, I have written this. This is your summation, Fourier transform summation. I have used this square. Why? Because it indicates your energy. Why energy? Because we are working it on non-periodic signals. Discrete time Fourier transform, we are applying it to the non-periodic signals. So we have to find the energy. So whatever energy we get, that should be finite energy. If this is not finite, your energy should be finite. So totally we come across two conditions here. First one is the summation of whatever your formula has, that sum should be absolutely summable. And the second thing, whatever energy we calculate, that energy should be finite. It should be also what? Absolute value. It should have absolute value. These are the two conditions for the discrete time Fourier transform to exist. Okay. Now, if you just look at, you can just, after the class, you can just go through your syllabus of 4th module. You can see in the first part, some basic definition and some problems are there. In the second part, you have the properties. Okay. But what I will do, I will complete the properties, and all together we will take the problems. This whatever till now I have told you, the basics. the concept of Fourier representation, periodicity, periodic and non-periodic, Fourier series, Fourier transform. Under that module 4, we are now taking discrete time Fourier transform. We have seen two formulae. One is for finding the Fourier transform. Second one is for finding the inverse Fourier transform. And then the existence. All these are the basics of Fourier. Fourier transform, the definition, how you represent, what is the equation, formula, all those things. Then actually we should go for some problems based on the equation. But what I will do, I will take the properties and then all together we will solve the problems. You can just see the slide. If you see the slide, I have listed few properties. Let me zoom it. Okay. If you look at the properties, these properties which I have listed here, they are similar to your Z transform properties. While dealing with the Z transform, I had told you, if you just do these properties here, it is easy for you to deal with the Fourier. I had told you during that time. So you can just see there are few properties listed here. What we will do, we will just, you can just see the list: periodicity, linearity, time shift. I think you have studied this linearity, time shift there also. Frequency shift, scaling, differentiation in frequency domain. There under the heading differentiation in a Z domain, you have studied time reversal, convolution. This is new to you. Multiplication in time, which we call it modulation. It is the reverse of this. Convolution and modulation both are inverse. Okay. Then Parseval's theorem. Probably you have heard this Parseval's theorem in mathematics. Okay. And then conjugation. Some properties I have listed for Fourier transforms. In detail, one by one, we will see the proofs. And one more thing, uh, I'll just chart it out so that it is easy for you. Fourier transform. Okay. In general, in your syllabus, if you see, they have prescribed Fourier transforms. That's it. They have not specified whether it is continuous time or discrete time. Okay. They have not specified. So it means you should study both. But however, I will be completely focusing on DTFT only, because that further will be helpful to you in your DSP. So I will be concentrating on this. Generally, Fourier transform they have mentioned. So we will deal with discrete time Fourier transform. So let us deal with the first property, that is periodicity. Periodicity, you know, after certain time interval, the signal repeats. So how again, for every property we have certain statement, how it is defined by some equation probably, and how to prove that particular equation. So for periodicity, the first property, this is the statement how we define: if x of omega, if that is your Fourier transform of some signal x of n. If x of omega and x of n, we have these two. X of n is the discrete time signal, x of omega is your Fourier transform. If this is the case, then periodicity, what it says, your x of omega Fourier transform, it is periodic with period 2 pi. 2 pi is the period. So this is the statement. In equation form, how will you write? X of omega is equal to x of omega plus 2 pi k. K is some integer value. You can put it 1, 2, 3, 4 multiples. Okay, as if the signal is extending, we can put k different values. Now you may be thinking, why this periodicity is coming here? Because we are applying the transforms to a non-periodic signal. Fourier transform, where it comes, if when we charted the things, I'll just, yeah, if you see here, for non-periodic this exists, Fourier transform. So why we are talking about the periodicity? Remember, we are not talking here about the time domain, we are talking about the frequency domain. I am not telling x of n is periodic. X of n is non-periodic only. Because it is non-periodic, we are applying this Fourier transform. I am talking about its transform, that is x of omega, which is periodic, not this. This one is periodic with a period 2 pi. This can be represented in an equation like this. Now, how to prove this? So we will start with the formula as usual. We know that in the just previous slide we have seen the dTft of x of n is given by x of omega is equal to summation x of n e raised to minus j omega n. Now what we want this at the RHS. So what you do, simply replace omega by omega plus 2 pi k. If you replace it, LHS will be like this: x of omega plus 2 pi k, summation is as it is, x of n as it is, e raised to j, omega term should be replaced with omega plus 2 pi k. Then in the next step, these two are same. Here exponential should be split. Some plus sign is there, split it, e raised to minus j omega n and e raised to minus j 2 pi k n. Now, what is e raised to minus j 2 pi k n? Just express it, polar form, okay? You just express this in cos and sine form. Cos 2 pi k n, as it is minus sign, minus j sine 2 pi k n. So sine of multiple of 2 pi is 0. So cos of 2 pi will be 1. So hence, this complete exponential term, the value is equal to 1. Okay. Because of this, your formula will be, this is equal to summation x of n exponential term into 1. Okay, that exponential term has reduced to 1. So this is nothing but your x of omega. Hence, we say that the Fourier transform of a signal, discrete signal, it is periodic in nature. Okay. Then let us go to the second property, that is linearity. Again, this is very much familiar to you even in Z transform also. First, let us see the statement. If we have two signals, x of n and y of n, whose Fourier transforms are given by x of omega and y of omega, then if you have a third signal, which is the combination of these two signals, ax plus by, then its Fourier transform z of omega will be ax plus by. In linear, superposition theorem should be satisfied. So how to deal with this? Let us start with the formula itself. We want z of n, okay? So LHS should be z of n. We know that the DFT of z of n in general is given by z of omega is equal to summation, as it is z, small z of n will be the signal, e raised to minus j omega n. Now what is z? Ax plus by, which is a combination of two signals, superposition, okay, summation of two signals. So substitute instead of z of n as ax plus by. If you substitute, you will get this. Then next, apply your summation. This should be expanded. Summation ax of n into e raised to plus summation by of n into e raised to. Okay, we have splitted this. Then take a outside. It's a constant term. Remaining is summation x of n e raised to minus j omega n. B, take it outside. Remaining is summation y of n e raised to minus j omega n. So a and b are constant terms. Keep it as it is. This first bracket indicates the Fourier transform of x of n, that is x of omega. And the second bracket indicates Fourier transform of y of n, that is y of omega. Hence, you conclude that if your input is ax plus by, your output, the transforms, are also ax plus by. So this is about the linearity property. So just today what all we discussed, let me recall. We first started with the introduction, what is a Fourier representation. It is mainly applicable to periodic signals. So sorry, the periodic signal, the periodicity matters here to decide if it is periodic, Fourier series; if it is non-periodic, Fourier transforms. Again, continuous and discrete on both sides. Now we started with this module 4 DTFT. Two important equations to remember. One is finding the Fourier transform x of omega, then finding the inverse DTFT, that is x of n. Then we saw two important points for the existence of DTFT. What are those two? First thing is it should be absolutely summable. First thing, summation. Second one, whatever the energy of Fourier transform is there, that should also converge. That should also be absolutely summable. These are the two important points. Then we started with the properties of Fourier transform. We started with periodicity. We completed two properties today, periodicity and linearity. So in the next class, we will be dealing with the remaining properties. We will see the proofs of most of the properties which are beneficial for us. We will see those, and afterwards we will go for problem solving, starting with the basic equation problems and then applying the properties few problems. So I hope you have understood today's class. It's a very simple equation to remember is very important. Existence, what are the conditions, that is important. So any doubts, you can just ask me. We will continue the remaining properties. I hope everyone understood. Okay, fine. So let me end today's session. Thank you so much for attending. We will continue it in the next class. Yes, for third IA, definitely I will include this Fourier. I will include. So only I am very much in a hurry to complete this as far as possible. For your third IA, Z transforms completely, and whatever I cover for Fourier, that will be the syllabus. And please don't share this syllabus with anybody, because let them ask me. They are not interested to attend the classes. They are not interested to watch the videos. So let's see whether they are interested to ask the syllabus of the third eye or not. Okay, don't share the syllabus. I think 4 members are there. Only those 4 members should know the syllabus. That's it. How many? Yeah, Tayyaba, Anjum, Mehtab and Misbah. 4 people are there. You 4 should be knowing the syllabus for the third eye. Let us see how many of your classmates will come and ask me. They'll ping me. Let's see. Okay, we will continue the remaining properties in the next class. Okay, we can end today's session. Thank you so much.